Hi lovelies, I'm Ariel and this is Maven Unmasked with my self-care for the Caretaker video series. Today we are going to work with the Major Arcana to talk about self-care when you're caring for somebody else. Oftentimes when you're a caretaker you feel alone, or you feel resentful or neglected or unsupported, fearful, worried, overwhelmed. This is something that I'm currently going through in my life. And I just wanted to talk a bit about my experience and what I've learned through the lens of tarot. So this particular video will be working with the Major Arcana. We will also talk about the mental self with the Suit of Swords, the emotional self with the Suit of Cups, the spiritual self with the Suit of Wands, and the physical self with the Suit of Pentacles. So thank you for joining me. I do have some notes here with me just because I want to make sure I say everything that I want to say. I will not be going through each and every individual card. I just am working with cards that I felt like speak the most to my experience or the experience of the caretaker. So I would love if you could comment or share this video with someone who is a caretaker, or you think it would be helpful to them, or if you would like to share a little bit about your own caretaking journey. Please leave a comment below. I would love to connect with you. So the first card I have that I wanted to talk about was from the Major Arcana. Again, this is the Major Arcana part of the series. And the first card is the High Priestess. Okay. And the message that the High Priestess has given to me with all of this is really listen to your intuition. If you feel like something isn't right, it probably isn't. I have had dreams about things happening before they happened, so it heightened my awareness and helped the situation in case it did occur. Or this also speaks to me about the psychic connection with the person that you're caring for, because if you're an empath, or if you are intuitively or psychically gifted, or you're a medium, you may be picking up, you know, the emotions and the feelings and sometimes even the physical symptoms of your loved ones or the person you're taking care of. Even if you ground yourself and you bubble yourself and you shield yourself, I've found that I was experiencing physical symptoms, maybe, a stomach ache or back and leg pain, maybe a day or two before the person I was caring for was having those symptoms, or chest pain, things of that nature. So I just really want to say that it's not because you're not bubbling or taking care of your spiritual protection, your spiritual hygiene. More than likely, it is just because you are so emotionally connected or invested in this person's care. You're working so closely with them and their energy, especially if it's been over a long period of time, months, weeks, years even. There's that merging or blending, I feel like, of the aura. And so you pick up a lot of their things, even unintentionally, even after clearing and grounding and protecting. So I just wanted to say to be aware of that. Okay. The next card I wanted to talk about actually come as a duo, the Empress and the Emperor. Okay. So for some of us, we may find ourselves taking care of our parents, or our grandparents, those who took on a parental role, or somebody that took on an important role in our formative years. For me, this really speaks of feeling like a parent or to a grandparent. And the sense of responsibility and duty that comes with feeling obligated to take care of those who took care of you, especially as they're going through their illness or their process. There's a fine line between being a parent and being a caregiver. And I just, I'm dealing with, I'll be open. My grandmother is very sick. And so I am the primary caregiver for her. And my grandmother has always been such an important person in my life. I find myself sometimes feeling like I'm way closer to her than even my mom, because she looked after me so much when I was a little girl. So I have found myself feeling like a parent in the bathing and the cleaning up, you know, of bodily fluids and cooking meals and all of that. And when I find myself, it's difficult, because it's like you feel obligated in a sense. They did these things for you when you were a child, and now it's the roles are reversed and you want to be that person for them. But at the same time, it's difficult to feel like you're being a parent to somebody who's parented you, and how interesting that dynamic is, and how confusing, and you know, learning that fine line, because they are, you know, if you're dealing with somebody older, they are grown, they're adults, they have their own sense of independence. And if they feel like, you know, if they are losing that sense of independence, it's how can you not make them feel less than, okay? To be a caretaker without stepping over that line into parenting, or I don't want to say scolding or reprimanding or anything, but being that, you know, you shouldn't be eating that kind of thing. And learning how to deal with that yourself on a psychological and mental level. It's a shift, it's a change, and sometimes it can be an uncomfortable one. Okay. Also with the Empress and the Emperor, really about, you know, self-care and nurturing and growth, you know, raising, you know, someone in a sense. The Empress is the mother, and the Emperor, the father, that discipline. So it's like, yes, you know, you want them to still enjoy the things of their life, but at the same time, some of the things they used to do, maybe they can't do anymore, and you have to learn how to put your foot down, but to say it with love and not in a demeaning or degrading way or belittling way that makes them feel less than. And that balance is just so fine and so delicate. Okay. Next, we have the Strength card. So definitely all of that solar plexus energy, okay? Pulling out your own inner will, your own inner strength, your own sense of perseverance and determination, because it is hard. It's hard. You know, one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. You need that inner mental, emotional, physical, spiritual strength. Again, really that physical strength. Sometimes they fall and you literally have to have the physical strength to try to pick them up off the floor, and knowing how to do that. You know, if they're really, you know, wobbly and they have no balance, you know, being that strength, that support for them. Physically, you know, mentally, emotionally as well, being a strength, a strong support for them. But how can you find that, you know, that strength within yourself for you to keep going day after day, especially if you feel like you're losing your sense of self or your own life in the chaos, in the caregiving. Okay. Alrighty. The Hermit. So alone time, spending time alone is important when you can, to recoup. You may find yourself going within and isolating yourself as well if you're in a caregiver role, because you become exhausted in every sense of the word. You can become depleted, and when you do, you know, have a moment where they're doing okay and you can kind of step away, you just want to be alone and just breathe and not really. You may not have the energy to interact with others, but I feel the Hermit as such an important message that yes, alone time is important for rejuvenation and introspection, and getting clear on what your emotions and your thoughts are separate from theirs, and about this whole process and getting connected back with self and with spirit. But I also think it's a warning to not isolate yourself, because that can lead to depression. You know, so even if you're not, you know, feeling the best, sometimes it's good to just go meet that friend, you know, for a cup of coffee, or, you know, hey, I have to go to the grocery store. Do you mind just joining me and keeping me company? That kind of thing, to still keep your life going, even though so much of it is dedicated to helping someone else. Okay. Next, we have the Justice card. Okay, we have the Justice card. So the Justice card for me speaks of a few things. One, it's about the legal aspect of all of this, you know, beneficiaries and, you know, are you the, I can't think of the term right now, but the liaison for this person, should they not be able to make decisions on their own behalf, getting, you know, finances together, wills, you know, paperwork, legal documents, all of that kind of stuff together is very, very important. So in speaking with your loved one about this, having clarity, you know, around this is important, so that, you know, there's no confusion in this. You know, meeting with a lawyer if need be. Okay, you know, maybe having to have documents drawn up or getting paperwork together if this person has to be moved into a facility. I also very much feel with the Justice card that balance is so important. Okay, balance for your mental, your physical, your emotional, your spiritual, because things can get so out of whack. I am a student teacher currently this year for a mediumship development and certification course. And one of the exercises is, you know, measuring your chakras, how balanced they are with a pendulum. And at a particular rough point in my caretaker journey, we did this exercise and my solar, okay, which ones were it? It was my root, my sacral, my solar plexus, and my throat were all at negative 100%, the lowest, worst that you can go. Everything with me was so out of balance because I wasn't taking care of myself. So making sure you and your energy is balanced and taken care of. Also weighing between the head and the heart. You know, maybe you have some tough decisions to make with this and your head is saying one thing and your heart is saying another. You know, how can you bring those things into balance? Or maybe there needs something needs to be said or forgiven or expressed, and kind of bridging that gap or releasing, you know, old thoughts about a particular person because you have to step up and be there as an emotional support for them. Okay, putting your own stuff to the back burner sometimes may have to be done. Okay, the next card we have is the Hanged Man. And with the Hanged Man comes the message of sometimes all you can do is just surrender to the process. It is one of those situations when you're caring for someone in their illness or their dying process that you have no control. And I know for myself, I'm very much someone who likes control, or, well, not that I like control, but I like being able to understand or kind of, you know, see how things are going to play out, or be able to manifest change, you know, to have an impact. And in processes such as these, or in roles such as these, sometimes all you can do is just let go and surrender to the process, because baby, you have absolutely no control. It is out of your hands. Okay, it is between God, the universe, healing energies, time, and, you know, someone else's physical self, spiritual self, emotional self, their body, their process. Sometimes we just have to surrender to that. I also feel the need to say be patient with the person you're caring for in their process, because as much as it's affecting you, think about how it's affecting them. Losing their independence or not being able to do the things that they once used to be able to do, even if it's something as simple as shuffling a deck of cards or getting themselves to the bathroom or feeding themselves, washing themselves, walking up the stairs. Maybe they've just slowed down, you know, walking with a cane or whatever it is. Be patient with them in their process. Maybe they're not as sharp mentally or as clear, or their memory isn't as good. Be patient with them in their process. Shift your perspective, step out of you for a while and think about what they're going through. And also in that, what would you need if you were going through that same process and trying to do that for the person you're caring for? Okay, be patient with yourself as well in the process. Next, we have the Death card. And the death card, yes, it can be about physical death with this, especially if you're taking care of someone who's very sick or has a terminal illness or is just aging and going through their dying process. For me, I have felt, especially when I was going through that really rough period for a while, that death was all around me. I could smell it, I could taste it, I could see it, I couldn't get it out of my pores. And when you're in a caretaker role, it really makes you confront your own mortality. Okay. If you're caring for an aging grandparent, it makes you think about the mortality of your parents. It makes you think about your own mortality. Okay. Endings, cycles, completions, transformations, transitions. Okay. For me, I have found that, oh, I'm a medium, so I should be really like comfortable with death and the dying process, but it's different when it's somebody you love and your emotions and your love and your feeling is there. Okay, you're watching the process. You know, it's hard. It's a hard process to watch. It's hard to watch the decline and to be there for the decline and to stand strong in support of someone who's having their own decline and their own fears about death. You know, try and talk to them and see if they're willing and open to express their fears about death or their process or the changes that they're going through, anything that needs to be talked about. Because I feel like a lot of times people who are going through that process keep it to themselves for not wanting to worry or upset or fear those around them, their loved ones, or those who are caring for them. Okay, so you may become very well acquainted with death and dying and that process and learning how to handle that, finding faith and strength to help you deal with that. The next card I have is Temperance, and I love Temperance in this aspect because it's really about alchemy. For me, it's more about healing alchemy, working with healing energies. So Reiki, working with Reiki energy. If you are a Reiki practitioner, doing Reiki, sending Reiki to the person you're taking care of course, with their expressed open permission. You know, getting a Reiki treatment for yourself to heal and balance your own energies, laying stones on your chakras to balance and heal your chakras, work with them, open them. Okay, any kind of energy healing. Therapy, going to a therapist, going to a grief counselor. Okay, so important. The healing, okay? Also with this, you know, she's got 1 foot on land, 1 foot on water. So, you know, especially if you're caring for a person who has Alzheimer's or dementia, you know, they're half in this world and half in the spirit world. And, you know, really cherishing the moments that they're here on this plane with you and they can bring things to you and talk with you and laugh with you. Remember that they're straddling both worlds, and to again be patient with them in this process, or to maybe send them healing energy to make the transition easier, to make the moments when they're in the physical body less stressful. Okay. Alrighty. Next, I have Beware the Devil. Okay, and that's why I think the counseling and the therapy and the energy healing, the release is so important, because we can become so wrapped in bitterness or resentment or grief, self-pity, agony, depression, anxiety, anguish, loss, fear, that we, codependency, that we do not develop coping mechanisms to deal with these emotions. We escape. We go to escapism. We go to drugs. We go to alcohol. We go to cheeseburgers and fries and pints of ice cream. We go to, you know, to over-sexing, one-night stands. We, you know, may fall back into old toxic patterns or habits, the familiar, because it's comfortable and we're scared. Okay. Please try not to let it get to that point. You know, that's why with the Hermit card, why not isolating yourself is so important. That's why with the Temperance card, the therapy and the energy healing, energy work is so important, so that this doesn't become an issue. Also, thank you, Spirit. I'm hearing with the Devil card, we form these attachments. We have attachments to everything in this life, to our family, to the people we're caring for, to these, you know, these tarot cards. We have attachments to all of these things in life. And really with the caretaker role, you're learning to surrender and let go and having to release these attachments, whether it be to a person, a place, or a thing. Okay? Learning to let go and to accept. And how acceptance frees us from oppression. Letting go of that attachment frees us from this bondage that the devil can, you know, force upon us. Okay? But really, beware of addictions and escapism as coping mechanisms when it comes to being a caretaker. Okay? Don't suppress the feelings because they become too much. Really learn to work with them and heal them and release them. Okay. Next, we have the Tower. So the Tower is a message that there will be times where, excuse my language, but shit just hits the fan out of freaking nowhere. The person you're caring for may be making great progress, may be doing really well, and then boom, they have a fall, or boom, they have to be rushed to the hospital, or maybe you have to be rushed to the hospital because you weren't taking care of yourself and your physical body, or maybe this kind of stuff with the devil became an issue. Okay, you may be blindsided by something. It could even be something like your car breaking down and you're not able to get them to a doctor's appointment or something like that. The unexpected. Expect the unexpected. And even though we can't plan for every single situation, know that the Tower moments can and will happen. Okay, as scary and unpredictable as they may be, but we can also learn from Tower moments. Okay, we can learn from Tower moments. So if the person that you're caring for, you know, has a fall, okay, now I have this new awareness that I really have to be aware or watch them. Maybe falling wasn't a problem before, and then boom, all of a sudden they fall today. You know, maybe the balance and stuff wasn't an issue before. What lessons can you learn, you know, to help you prepare and be better next time? Okay. Things of that nature, but to prepare for the Tower moments and to not allow the Tower moments to, you know, bring us into these unhealthy coping mechanisms. Okay. How do you deal with the emergencies and the scary moments? Can you deal with them in a better, more calm way? Because too, a lot of times people who you're caring for will look to you about how to react to something. So if you keep a calm, cool, level head and don't overreact, that helps keep them cool and calm as well. Okay. Next we have the Star. So the Star is so important. Again, very important with with Temperance as well. I feel like these two go hand in hand. But hope, belief, faith. Connect to your faith, connect to your hope, connect to your belief, connect to your gods, goddesses, the universe, all of your deities, your pantheons, your angels, your guides, your ancestors, your loved ones in spirit. Connect to your hope and your faith and your belief. Manifest, pray, talk to the moon, talk to the stars, talk to nature, talk to your guides, talk to your angels, all of that, okay? Even when you feel hopeless and, you know, one thing just boom, 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 the Tower moments just keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. You have to have faith and belief. You have to stay positive, okay? Even if not for yourself, for the person you're caring for, but especially for you too, okay? Next we have the moon, and the moon is about illusions and fears and things seeming scarier than they are, especially when, you know, there's not a lot of illumination or clarity on the situation, or you're waiting for test results to come back. That's why, you know, having the star to light your path on a dark night is so important. Having that hope and that belief and that faith. Okay. Sometimes, yeah, things are really as scary as they seem, but a lot of times they're not. And that's when it's important to gain outside perspective, to shine light on situations and find clarity where you can. Okay. So you can navigate the path in the most effective way possible. Okay. I can't talk about all this without talking about the sun, okay? Staying as positive as possible, getting outside and into nature, getting your vitamin D with the sunlight, anything that gets your endorphins going and makes you happy, that brings you joy and freedom and play. Do that. Enjoy those moments, get them as much as you can, because those help to keep you strong for when the tower moments come. Enjoy your respite, enjoy the sunshine when you can, okay? Continue to grow on your own and nurture on your own as much as you can. Nurture your soul. Next, we have judgment. And judgment, for me, it kind of connects back to the High Priestess that we talked about in the beginning with using your intuition. Notice patterns. Notice if you're caring for someone and they're eating, they tend to get sick when they eat a particular thing. Or notice, you know, maybe this time of day they feel better than others, or even for yourself, notice patterns with yourself. Notice that, you know, I'm really good and cheery on Monday, but by the time I get to Friday, I'm really worn out. What can you do on Wednesday to keep you going for the rest of the week? Okay. Notice just any kind of pattern that you can think of. Okay, maybe they have episodes a certain time of the month or a certain time of day or night. You know, maybe you notice if you, you know, go outside on a walk with them, or you go on an outside excursion with them, their mood is better that day. Okay, learn about their habits. Okay, the things that make them feel good or make them feel better, the things that make you feel good and feel better. Okay, I also feel the need to say that sometimes as a caretaker, we have to be the absolver. A lot of times when people are sick or dying, ill, whatever it is, you become a confessor of sorts. You see them in their weakest moments, in their saddest moments, in their darkest moments, in their most reflective moments, and holding that space for them without judgment, to allow them to just let it out. That's part of their healing process as well. So being there to hear their truth without judgment, with open arms and unconditional love, is so freeing. Okay. Alrighty. I also want to say thank you. I'm hearing releasing again preconceived notions or judgments that you may have of the person that you're caring for. Thank you. And also letting go of judgments about how you're doing as a caregiver. Okay, because it's like, am I doing too much? Am I doing not enough? Oh, I should have done this. Oh, I should have been there for that. Oh, I shouldn't have turned my back for a split second because XYZ happened. Or I shouldn't have gone out that night because, you know, I got a call and I should have been there, or whatever it is. Free yourself. Don't judge yourself for how you're doing. You know, as long as you know you're doing the best that you can with the given abilities and resources and skills that you have. Okay, and don't judge yourself when the situation becomes too big for you to handle. You know, for me, I've had to say to myself, I'm not a nurse, and you know, you want to make sure your loved one gets the best care possible. So knowing that, you know, this is no fault of my own. This is just beyond my pay grade. This is beyond my skill set. Okay, and being accepting and loving of yourself and non-judgmental of yourself when it comes to that. And then lastly, we have the World card. So the World card is very much about, again, similar to the Death card, completion of cycles, endings of cycles, but more or less for me, it's about finding support from others, from friends, from family, not you know, becoming so tunnel focused in the caregiving role that you forget that there's a world out there waiting for you to participate in it. Now, that's not to say that sometimes we have to put, you know, ourselves to the side for a little bit to be able to do this role. Okay, sometimes we have to even shut off our emotions to be able to be present, to do this role, to care for someone without breaking down and crying and being a blubbering mess, because that's not necessarily good for the person we're caring for to see us like that is either. Okay, so find support from your friends, find support from your community when it comes to caring for a loved one. But thank you for watching. I'm Ariel, and this has been Maven Unmasked with self-care for the caretaker through the lens of tarot and the major arcana. Be sure to stay tuned for the other videos in this series. So much love and support and healing to all of you who are going through this or who will go through this in the future. My heart and my love is with you. Goodbye.